have any technical issues. So Cindy, what was she going to talk about? You want to go to that first slide?
Yeah.
So I have Cindy's right up here. The DSA registration process is still required for 6 to 8 weeks before you plan on submitting your project for electronic review. The project manager will take ownership of the project from submittal of the progress set through back check and plan review. So make sure whoever is going to be in charge has to understand how to control the box, how to control the information. This process starts with the invite to the box. DSA will then create a folder structure in the DSA box for the design professional to upload files to. DSA will review the submitted documents for completeness and adherence to DSA's formatting requirements. Accepting plans will be transferred by DSA into the Bluebeam Studio session. We do not create the session, DSA creates the session, where staff will complete a detailed plan review. Once the review is complete and the design professionals will be invited to the Bluebeam Studio session. Gina will go over the DSA formatting requirements that you will need to follow to guarantee DSA's acceptance of your plans. Bookmarking, hyperlinks are required by DSA for ease of them to review the plans, and if not done, DSA may be able to kick your project out. Seek the help of your DSA coordinator to assist with DSA forms and that are necessary for project registration and the review of PR 18.04. Yeah, you need your DSA coordinator because I have no idea what the PR 18.04 is.
Turn it on, you go.
I know. So Gina, you want to take it away?
Okay, so what Angel said, I just want to give you guys a quick overview of what Bluebeam has and what we'll need to use to create the drawings and combine all the files together. So I'm just giving you a quick overview, and I'm going to give you a lot of information at one time. If you guys can save all your questions till the end, that'd be great. So the first topic that we're going to go over is creating a Bluebeam account. And so creating a Bluebeam account, everybody is required to create an account, and this is a way for you guys to access all the drawings for the DSA comments when you access their session. So everybody is going to be required to create an account. Unless you already have an existing account, we'll be able to go and change your username. So let me jump into the software right now. So this is what Bluebeam looks like, and how you create an account is you go to this plug. So right here on the right-hand side is where you'll be accessing Bluebeam Studio. And you'll go to this plug right here on the right-hand side. Let me log out, and you'll see this icon. And you'll click on this, and you'll either log in or you could create your new account by going to the left-hand corner, create an account. You'll put in your HMC email address. You'll create a password. And right here, your username is the way that you'll identify yourself as a representative of HMC. And DSA is requiring you to create that name for yourself so you could identify yourself in the Bluebeam session. And that'll be your name, your last name, comma, HMC, and the company name. So you could identify yourself when you're at HMC and you see the attendees. And I'll tell you a little bit more about where to locate the attendees. So that's how you create an account, but let me log in and show you how to change your username as an existing account. So I'll log in right now with my password. This is what you'll see. And you'll go to this setting right here. On the right-hand sidebar, you'll open up the preferences. You'll scroll down to general, and you'll see this username. And you'll have to change it to my first and last name and HMC. And you click OK. And then now you'll be associated to that whenever you log in. And you'll also have to tell all your consultants to do that too, so they know. And whenever you're in the session and you have any questions, DSA can contact them directly from there. And that's how you create an account or change your existing username. Let's go to the next slide, which is understanding Bluebeam. So Bluebeam is such a powerful software that you could use for collaboration and just viewing PDFs. And it's a great tool that DSA has used so we could do this electronic back check, so you don't have to go to DSA all the time. You don't have to lug all the drawings, so it's a great tool. And if we jump into the software, you'll see the three main areas, which will be the Bluebeam Studio on the right-hand side, and that'll be consistent throughout the interface. You'll see at the bottom bar, if you expand it, you'll see all the details of all the information when you input any comments or any markings. So that's useful when you're doing back check and you know the comments. And the right or left-hand bar is where you'll be able to see the pages right here, bookmarks, which I'll go over, and recent drawings. But you guys have already used Bluebeam, so this is just a refresher of the interface. And you can also use all these bars and tabs on the top-hand side. So let's go over, that's the interface of Bluebeam. And let's move on to creating bookmarks. Bookmarks and hyperlinks are going to be super crucial for DSA submittal. And you'll have to do that when you're preparing the PDF for submittal. Prior to the 6-week submittal, you'll have to do a progress set, and you'll also have to create those bookmarks and hyperlinks as well.
Can you go over Bluebeam Extreme?
Oh, yes. And with Bluebeam Extreme, you have to have Bluebeam Extreme to create the hyperlinks itself, which will be important for submittal. And each project team will have to have one member or to have the software. So you'll have to designate whoever creates the PDFs from Revit to have Bluebeam Extreme. And the only feature that it is mainly for the hyperlinks. But you could do bookmarks in just the regular Bluebeam. So we can go into the software right now. And so you'll see in the interface, the bookmarks are located on the left-hand side with this icon right here with the flag. And then you'll click it. Let me delete these, and I'll show you how to create bookmarks. Bookmarks is basically a page labeling system. So you could actually jump from one page to the other easily by just looking at this page settings. So when you open up your PDF, you won't have any bookmarks, so you'll have to create them. And they require it, or else they will send you an email immediately, and you'll have to create the bookmarks or fix any corrections with the hyperlinks and bookmarks within 24 hours, or else your project will be rejected. So just make note of that. So let's looking at the PDF. I'm gonna look at the page number and click on the bookmarks icon. Scroll down to this icon that says Create Bookmarks. You'll click on that, and this Create Bookmarks will pop up. You'll click on the page region, type Select, and now it'll have this little arrow for your mouse. And you'll highlight the page number, and then it'll pop up with this region, which is the indication for the page number. And then I usually type in underscore, so then I can also add, and you click on add, and you add the page label. So now you'll have this region 1 and region 2, which is the page number and label. And you click OK. You also have to make sure that all the pages are within this image. So you just make sure that all your pages are on it. And you click OK. It'll generate the pages. Oh, I think I zoomed in. Let me zoom in and create it again. So I'll give you guys a quick view of how to do it again, because it might have been too fast. So you click on this Create Bookmarks. You click on Page Region. You select it. You zoom in so you could try to get everything within this field and highlight the page number. You type in underscore, you add, and then you highlight the page label, and then you click OK. Make sure that everything's on all the pages. And then all of the labels will be appearing on this area, on this bar. And now whenever you zoom out of this document, I could click and jump right to the demo site plan. And I could jump to the enlarged plans. So that'll help DSA plan checkers jump from one image or document to the other page. And that's very useful you could use it for consultant drawings, delivering it so you could easily access what page they're talking to in collaboration. And that's how you create page labels. And you could also do that viewing here, and it'll create it here. So that's how you create bookmarks. And if you have any more questions too, or have any information or need me to guide you through the step, you could always contact me. So let's go on to the next slide. And also note that the spec department, they will also do the bookmarkings for you. And there are certain categories going back to bookmarks that I forgot to mention, is that there's a certain organization that you could have. DSA accepts just the layout right here, where you just have the page number and page label, or you could also click on Add right here, and then create a subcategory for each discipline, and you click on that. So that'll just be associated to the different disciplines, so you could create a subcategory for that, and it'll be useful for specs too. You could do that for architectural, civil, landscape, all of your drawings too, just to keep it more organized. But they do not want you to have subcategories within another subcategory. So that's unacceptable. But they'll send you an email showing you what is unacceptable and acceptable. Let's go to the next slide, which is creating hyperlinks. And I just want to mention that this is really critical for your DSA submittal. And you will only have, or if you have Bluebeam Extreme, so you'll have to have Bluebeam Extreme to create hyperlinks. So let's go into the software. And hyperlinks are located on the right-hand side. No. Well, hyperlinks are located on this area on the right-hand side bar, but let me move it to here. Oh no, is this the full version? Okay. Yeah, so, or you could also, so usually it'll be right here, right next to the Bluebeam Studio icon, where my arrow is showing on the right-hand side, but you could also go to markups and locate it right here. And so this will be other tabs that you'll find. And if you go to, I would like to show. So if you go to the detail sheet, let me show you how to create one. So hyperlinks are a great way to reference details where you have a call out and you want to reference it to another detail or a different page. And so right here, let me show you. You'll click on that detail, call out, and then it'll direct you directly to this detail. So it's easy for the plan checker to navigate through the page easily. And most of the time, your Revit file that you create into, converted into a PDF will create those hyperlinks for you. But when you start looking at the PDF itself, you'll see that some of the hyperlinks are broken on the page, so you'll have to go and fix that because DSA is not going to accept that. So let me show you how to create a bookmark. So you click on this link here, and it'll highlight stuff, highlight all the things that are hyperlinked, but let's demonstrate how to do it. I would highlight the icon, call out, go to the snapshot view right here, click on Get Rectangle, and then go locate that detail drawing. So that detail is referencing this detail. So I would go and hover and highlight the entire detail. And then you'll notice that now there's a destination and a path. So that is, the destination is the icon that you highlighted, and then this will be the detail. And you click OK, and now when you highlight and click on the callout node, it directs you right to that detail. So it's a really great way for you to just navigate and click directly to multiple pages too. And so that's how you do hyperlinks. And just to make sure that you know that you can only use it for Bluebeam Extreme. So let's move on to the next one. Incorporating DSA comments. And this is after we have submitted the project and now we've gotten the drawings and comments back. And we'll go into this drawing. Let me go into a project, a session with DSA comments, and I'll show you how to incorporate the comments and navigate through there using filters and replying and also setting the status. Because DSA will have all their comments on the document itself live, and you'll have to go and click on the comments itself and link your comments and replies, responses to that comment. So let me open up.
Go over the colors.
Oh, yeah. And oh yes, and I want to make sure that you guys know that the different colors that are associated to the disciplines are structural will be red, fire life safety is going to be orange, and access will be blue. So just make sure your consultants know what colors is associated to the different disciplines. And they'll have a tracker with the actual color association attached to it. So you'll see that when they invite you to the session, you'll be able to see who's attending the session, and you'll be able to send the invite email to all your consultants so they can access this session. And then you'll see all your documents with the different versions. And also the great thing about Bluebeam and the Bluebeam session is that everything is recorded. So you'll know when consultants answer your questions at what time. So you'll know whether they're doing their work or not. And so let me open up this document, and you'll see all the comments on here. It's loading, and you'll be able to open up this detail list and find all the comments with who's reviewing it or who commented on it, and all your consultants, as well as records here and the detail sheet, which I'll open up in a few seconds. So you'll see that also all of these are bookmarked, and this is what it'll look like, and with the subcategories. And if I open up the bottom hand bar with the details, you'll see all the plan reviewers' comments down below, as well as the consultants. And this is how they respond. So let me show you the first page. So this will be the title page, and this is what all their comments will be looking like. And they want you to incorporate your comments and responses within the node. So how you do that is you click on the comment right here, and you right-click it to open up this bar. You'll hit reply if you have any answers to it, to the responses. If you don't, then you could just set the status going down to here, hitting DSA, and you'll just type in or click on incorporated as the comment. Or if you want to add anything else, additional review, so then that they will be notified. And so that's how you respond to the comments. And you'll see that each comment will be attached to, if I click on this comment and right-click it, reply, a notepad will pop up and you could just say revise. And click OK. And now your note will have revised on there and it'll be associated so they can see it. And a great tool that you'll have to use there and when you're just responding to the DSA comments will be filtering. And you'll filter it by using this detail list and then going to this right, the left-hand side, filter. You'll click on that and these little triangles will show up and you'll be able to filter it by the specific plan checker, Tom Burke, and or you could do it by color. And when you filter by the plan checker or color, you'll notice that all of the comments on the sheet that aren't related to that plan checker will be grayed out, and all the comments that you want to see will from Tom Burke is highlighted. And you could click on his comment and you'll see that it's highlighted right here. And so that's how you incorporate and filter through the page. So just as a refresher, you'll be responding within this detail and clicking on each comment and right-clicking and responding there. So you don't want to, they will not let you comment on the page. You'll have to always link your comments associated to the comment marker. And I know this is a lot of information, so hopefully you'll watch this video over again and get a sense of how to do it once you're in the back check.
Are we allowed to ask questions now, or are we gonna wait till the
Can you save it to the end?
Okay. Yes, I can.
You aren't allowed to ask questions.
And then how to synchronize very quickly is just a basic way of synchronizing two documents. This is mainly used when you're in the back check room and you're looking at your DSA comments versus your your revised comments. And so let me show you it on this document. So you'll open up your two documents and then go to the bottom hand side. Left-hand side, you click on this split vertical right here, and it'll split the document. And then now, if you click on this little ribbon, the ribbon that says sync on the bottom hand left side or right-hand side, you'll click on that. Now, every time you zoom into the document, the other document will follow. So it's a great way to just navigate through the document with the DSA comments. And that's how you synchronize. With the Bluebeam features, they also have a great tool that you could use, which is alerting attendees. And that's a great tool in the back check room. Let me cancel that. Where if there's a certain comment that you want a consultant to address, maybe they didn't address it in the back check room, and so you want them to immediately address it, you could click on, go to the front page, you could click on this comment or something and right click it, alert an attendee, and then you'll choose who you want to send this alert to. And once they're in the Bluebeam session, they'll be able to, if you click on this person, you'll be able to see their, once they log on to the Bluebeam session, there'll be a flashing light in the notification bar right here in the Bluebeam session, and you'll see that you've alerted them at what time.
Hi, Gina, you there?
Yes.
Hey, it's Paul.
Hello. Okay, we're just gonna skip over and go to. I'll come back to that.
Hi, Paul. Welcome to our Lunch and Learn. Thank
Hi.
you for joining us.
Okay.
Do you have a presentation that you want to go over first before fielding some questions?
Yes, I would like to do that.
All right.
So how do I get control here? Request control, I guess?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I think you have control.
Okay, how do I get you to see my screen, though?
No,
I think you share or
Share.
stop.
yeah, stop sharing.
Okay, and then you have to, on your side, start sharing.
Okay, 1 second here. Share. Share controls are disabled by policy. To share, ask someone in the meeting to make you presenter.
Okay, try now.
Okay, share screen. It's getting closer. Okay. Primary monitor, okay. Share. Okay, let me know when you can see my screen.
Yeah, Skype. Yeah, click on that one.
Yep, we see it.
We can
You can see it? Okay,
Yep.
and you can hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So Gina and Cynthia asked me to come talk to you guys a little bit about what we're doing at DSA with electronic plan review. So as you know, we're here. October 1st is around the corner, and we're supposed to be doing all electronically. And so, just so you know who I am, I've been at DSA for 11 years now, and I probably worked with a lot of you guys in the audience there. And I senior structural plan reviewer. And over the last couple of years, I've been doing all of my projects electronically, and I've developed a process, a procedure that I think it's it's been implemented now, or it's going to be implemented, in a couple weeks here, that we're all going to be doing it electronically this way. And so Gina and Marisa, which we stole from you guys, I don't know, a couple months ago, we actually worked through a project probably, I don't know, must have been back in November, October. And so they got a taste of it, and then we've kind of, and even since then, it's changed quite a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump you into my little slideshow here. And if any of you have went to the cash workshop, I don't know, back in July, you may have seen some of this stuff, but it'll just be a repeat for you, or more questions you may have since then. Okay, so the first part is, I just want to, before we get into this, I want to talk to you about Bluebeam Studio and a difference in the two parts of it. So there's basically two parts to Bluebeam Studio. Okay, and some of this is maybe stuff you already know, but I just want to set a base here. Okay, so there's two parts to Studio. So this little icon right here represents the Studio, and there's two main parts. There's a project part and a sessions part. Okay, so project is kind of like our filing cabinet, and this is a lot like the box. This is where you'll be submitting stuff during the back check process. Initially, you'll be submitting stuff to the box. After that point, you'll be submitting things to the Bluebeam project folders here. And the other part of Studio is the sessions. So this is the place where we are all going to basically, DSA is going to place the documents that we typically mark up and return to use, like drawings and specs and maybe DSA 103, and we're all going to mark it up, the documents within the session, and return it, and invite you to the session to see our markups and to reply. Okay, so So moving forward here. So some things for you guys to look at, and I'm sure a lot of you are already familiar with it, is on our DSA website, we have some procedures that are continuing developed, but the latest release is back in August here. And then, so there's basically, we have, for the design professional, we have, for plan review, we have two procedures, a Bluebeam 2017 and a Bluebeam 2018, okay? And then we have one for consultant plan reviews, and then over-the-counter, which over-the-counters are not going to occur until January 15th, so we have some time before we jump into those. Also some helpful information and some flowcharts that we placed on our website, okay? And then some email note update reports that we provide periodically. Okay, next page. So understanding the software you need. So you guys are Bluebeam users already, but the key here is that to do the hyperlinking function that we're asking within the procedures, you actually need the extreme version. Everything else you need to do as far as prep, printing, and uploaded, you can use the standard or CAD versions, okay? But the extreme version, and we will have, probably within a month, the DSA in their bag check room will have Extreme on all of their machines out there. There's also a free viewer, so this is, so you need the paid version to prepare and upload the documents. But as far as your design consultants and your design team members, in reality, all they'll need is the free version to access the sessions, to see our comments and to reply to our comments. And so something to keep in mind is not like everybody has to go out and get a bunch of new software. It's, it's just you can do 95% of the job can be done with the actual free viewer. Okay. So there's the big thing that you guys have to do initially before you submit is to prepare the submittal. And these are the key highlights to what you got to do during the submittal to prepare the submittal. One is the bookmarks, one is flattening, one is hyperlinking, page labels, remove layers, verify sheet count, and scan drawings. And this is all written in your PR 1804 procedures. Okay. So bookmarking. So bookmarking is a little tab on your Bluebeam. Looks like this. And in there, you're basically going to bookmark your set of drawings. This is the equivalent of, when I get the review, I'm basically tabbing the sheets and writing ceiling plan, foundation plan, what have you. This allows us to navigate the drawings much quicker. Okay, so one of the requirements is you're going to have to bookmark the drawings. Actually, before I go on, just so you know, I want to go back a couple of slides here. So I talked to you about these procedures. The other helpful source that's going to be, I think we're going to be releasing a new update email here, probably either tomorrow or the next day. And in there, it's going to tell you that DSA has posted some YouTube videos on their DGS website. And in those YouTube videos, there's going to be you can go view Procedure 1804, the Bluebeam 2017 or the Bluebeam 2018. You'll be able to go through and see a video of the whole procedure in action. Okay, so just to give you a heads up, that's coming pretty soon. I think that's going to be a helpful tool for everybody to kind of visualize what's happening here. Okay, so bookmarking is critical. You got one of the things we do require is that you nest the bookmarks, meaning you drop them. I'll go to a document here to show you what it looks like by nested. So nested means if you expand it, there's going to be projects where you have lots of sheets, and so if we didn't nest it, it's just going to get kind of chaotic in here. So we're requiring that you nest the documents into discipline sections, kind of like that. And the procedures in the videos will show you exactly how to do that. Okay, if you don't know how to do it already. The other is broken bookmarks. So if you click on this little guy right here, sometimes you guys are, putting sheets in, taking sheets out, and you'll forget to go and reset the bookmarks. And so if you run this little audit thing and you click on this guy up here in the bookmarks tabs, it's going to tell you which sheets are broken. Okay, so that's one of the things we're doing, is making sure that there's no broken bookmarks. The other issue is flattening. Okay, so you want to make sure that when you submit the documents, There's nothing in this markup list down here. You know, all the comments that you've placed on here, maybe a stamp or maybe something that you put in there, it's all the documents have been flattened. And so that is what that requirement is about, okay? And that's a matter of just clicking on your little roller and it'll make the document permanent. All the marks permanent, part of the drawing. Okay. That's more about flattening. Okay, hyperlinking. So this is a, I know you guys, HMC participated in one of the soft start projects, and during the soft start projects, this was an optional requirement. Since then, we've made it a requirement that you have to do it, and that's the reason we actually need the extreme version, or you'll need the extreme version to complete these steps of the procedures. And so, and as most of you guys know, what this will do is it will basically result in all of your marks, all of your detail references, anything that has a sheet number on there, it'll basically link it so that when you click on that, it'll bring you to the sheet. Okay, so that's going to be that's a requirement that you run. It doesn't take long. It takes maybe a minute to run the whole batching process, and you end up with a much smarter document. So let's see here. So that's the hyperlinking. Okay, and we have page labels, and so this, if you come into the drawings here, I'll open up this drawing here, I'm going to go to the page labels. So this is, again, is basically putting labels on the page, and this is, it doesn't take long, it's not automated process. The key is you actually have to do this prior to doing the nesting of the bookmarks, so be careful when you're following the procedures. It tells you to create the bookmarks first, then do the thumbnails, the page labels, and the thumbnails here, and then do your nesting. And then you end up having, so that anytime you make you have this markup list on the bottom here, anytime you have a comment that's made, it'll place the page label in there so we have some good identifier when we're working our way through the markup list, okay? And let's see here. Page labels, the other issue is removing layers. Sometimes when you guys provide us documents, they come up with a bunch of layers associated with the AutoCAD or Revit. I'm not sure where they come from. And so there's a quick steps in the procedure that request that you remove the layers. We also now are asking that you place a grand total of the sheets you have on the set so that we can verify it, that the sheet count matches what you gave us in Bluebeam. So that's part of the procedures. Okay. Scan the drawings. Okay, so we have a lot of times we have. This is actually in the procedure now. This is an old slide. It's in the current procedures. So the scan drawings, we are requiring some things be done to make sure that they perform well. And I'm going to bring a video over here to show you quickly what a document that's been through. Not quite working here. One second here. See if I can find that video quickly. Sorry, when I opened it, it was frozen. Need to find it and reopen it. Scan. Okay, so this is a video that demonstrates a project that's gone through, or a set of drawings that's gone through the prepping part. So this has to deal with when you're dealing with like existing drawings where you all you have is old scan stuff, or you're dealing with PCs that they have only scanned documents and they don't have the PDFs generated from the native programs. And so what happens is when so I'm going to just show you. This is on this side over here is a document that has not gone through the prep process. This is a document that's gone through the prep process on this side. So when I show you this video, you can see that as I click on the sheet, this takes this long to generate, okay? And then this sheet is already generated that quickly. So I switch sheets. These are synced documents. So you can see it can sometimes take, 5, 6, 7 seconds to open a sheet that hasn't been properly prepped. So one of the keys for you guys is to pay attention to that part of the procedures, and when you're dealing with drawings that are not performing well in Bluebeam, to run it through this prepping process. And this takes a little bit of time, as far as, because you got to, but it has to be done. Okay, so the next step is, okay, so now once you have everything prepped, you upload it to the submittal to the box. This is the only time you'll submit something to the box as far as the plan review and the post-approval document process. It's just the initial submittal. After that, it'll go into the Bluebeam projects that I mentioned earlier. Okay. If for some reason there are issues with your submittal, our EPR admin support group will notify you and send you an email and let you know, okay, you got to fix this, you got to fix that. So you'll receive an email with directions on what's been missing. So they're going to prep the documents. The key is that we have to have the documents prepped before we send them to sessions, or because you can't do it once they're in sessions. So you can't be bookmarking things once they're in sessions. You can't be inserting sheets. You can't be, fixing these broken bookmarks. You can't. There's certain things you can't do. And so we want all this stuff done ahead of time. Okay. And so in my experiences, once you get the hang of this thing, prepping these things, it takes, besides the scan part, which could take up to a half hour, the other parts take about 15 minutes, and it's pretty quick. But the scans you have to do, it's a one-time thing you have to do with your PCs, depending on how many sheets you have, or with your existing drawings. But otherwise, it's a very quick process. Okay. Because then we'll do our plan review, and I'll show you an example of what it looks like. We basically will mark FLS, access, and structural. We'll be marking up the document in the marking up the same document in sessions. And so this is what the session will look like when we give it back to you. So when we invite you back to it, you're going to have you'll get this email, and in there there'll be a link to a session. You'll click on the link, and that'll bring you to something that looks like this, the project session, which will show you the documents that have been marked up. Okay, and also pay attention when you get this email. Down at the bottom here, there's a Bluebeam project ID. This is what you'll use to access the Bluebeam project when you're ready to upload new documents for the back check appointment. Okay, so this is the information that this is the information that and the ID that you'll provide to your design team members, your consultants, what have you. Allow them to quickly access this. Sessions and mark it up and reply and start addressing comments. This will be what you use to, once you collect all their information from them, prepare the new submittal. This is what you'll do to use this ID to access the project to dump the new documents in. Let's see here. Let's go back to this. Okay, so back to this. So just so you know, when we mark up the drawings, we're actually going to mark it up. DSA will mark it up. All our comments will be in red, okay? And I'll talk to you about this in a minute, okay? But we'll have different fill colors depending on what our discipline is. Access will have blue, FLS will have an orange, structural will have a pinkish color, okay? Okay, in the session, you're going to see something called a PR tracking table, okay? This is primarily a DSA use only document, but it does give you the contact information you need for your plan reviewers, okay? You're also going to see a DSA. You may see it's a drawing in there called DSA additional comments. These are basically blank sheets that we added to the session in case there wasn't enough room we couldn't find room to place a comment, or it was a big item we put on there, and so we add some blank sheets in there. So this is equivalent of us, on the paper version, basically taping stuff to the back of your sheet. So this gives us a place to put stuff as needed, okay? Okay, so now once you're done, like I said, you're going to receive this email, and with our review, you're going to receive this email. Okay, you're going to access the session. Okay, and like I mentioned earlier, if any of your design consultants or within your office does not have the Bluebeam, the paid version, they can access all of our, see all of our marked up comments and reply to it within the free version. So to me there's two big things for you guys. One is preparing the documents and the other one is incorporating the documents, or incorporating the comments, okay? So this means what we do is we basically set up a back check menu, okay? So all the drawings we put into sessions have a back check menu that's been loaded. And so I'm just going to show you an example here. So when I make a comment to you on the documents, or whatever the comment is, it'll be in red, okay? And then what you guys will do is you'll come in and you'll update the new version, your version 2 or whatever it is, and you're going to change, once you're done incorporating it, picking it up, you're going to change the status to incorporated. That'll change the color to green, okay? And then we will, and then if you need to have some clarification of what the response is, you're going to reply by clicking on this green arrow or clicking on, right-clicking and clicking on reply here. And this basically what it does is puts a comment, reply nested right below the original comment, okay? And so that's how you'll put your replies and explain to us what you're doing, okay? And then when we meet in the back check room, what's going to happen is we're going to come in and we're going to, actually I'll get that in a minute. We'll get that in a slide in a second, okay? And so that has to do, okay, so let's go to the next slide. Okay, so I kind of bounced forward. I didn't realize that slide in here. So this is how you reply to the comment, okay? I showed that to you, okay? And then once you're done replying and you've prepped your new, you've prepped your new drawings, you're going to schedule a back check appointment, prep the drawings, upload the documents to the project folder, which I talked to you about. You're gonna, so this is what the folder structure looks like. You have this submission folder is a read, write, delete for you guys, so you can, you put your documents in here that you are submitting to DSA for back check, and then we'll move it to the sessions, or we'll move it to our DSA review folder. Our DSA review folder is equivalent to our red file that we have here. Well, you give us new calcs, structural calcs, we'll place them in here. And once we're done with approval, we'll approve the documents, we'll place it in this approval folder here. Okay, so this is preparing for the back check appointment. Okay, and these are just images from the flowcharts that I mentioned earlier, so you can look at those flowcharts in more detail if you want. Okay. Okay, so back check appointment. Okay, so we're still doing face-to-face back check appointment. We will eventually expand to do some remote back check, or we may do occasional remote back check with approval from the supervisor and management at DSA. But right now it's face-to-face back check. We're still sticking with close as possible how we're doing with the paper. But this is the new look. You'll basically, as most of you probably already seen, because you've been in the back check room, you'll see your check set here, your markup set, the new set here. And now we have similar setup on our new screens, 2 screen. So we'll have your markup set here, and then the new set over here that will do some comparisons to make sure things are picked up. Okay, so in the back check room, you meet with the design professional. The first thing that's going to be done by the design plan reviewers, they're going to validate the PDF. So it's important that, so I would think that you guys have already been through this once when you made the initial submittal, the version 1, that you have it down and you'll be able to do the version 2 or back check submittals properly, okay? Because it's, and so that makes the back check start off on the right foot. If you don't, then you're going to be asked to correct it, and that'll slow things down. Okay, so if the preparation is good, which I'm assuming it is going to be, DSA is going to upload these documents to the session, okay? And then, okay. So now once we're into the session, this is what I talked to about, the menu I was talking about before. Okay, so you incorporated it during the previous stage. So now when you're in the back check room, what we're going to do is we're going to check to see if you actually incorporated it properly or not. And so I'll do another test comment here so you can see. Okay, so that's our initial comment. Okay, you guys incorporate it, and you change the status to incorporated. Okay, and then now we're meeting face to face in the back check room. I look at it and we say, okay, not quite addressed yet, and we're going to change it to open, and that changes it back to a color. And also what it does down here is it changes the it adds a status menu, like who down here. I don't know if you can see it. It basically tells you who incorporated and also tells you who changed the status to open. So it tracks down any changes that are made as far as the status. Okay. But that's the only thing, the person who originally made the comment, that is the only thing they can do, is change the status and do a reply. They can't actually do anything else. So if I made the comment originally, it's my comment. I'm the only one that can move it, or rewrite it, or what have you. All it can be done by you guys is to change the status and to reply to it. Okay, and so let's say now when it's all closed out, we'll change it to close, like this, when it's been addressed, okay? And so the key is to remember that when we return it to you, it's red. When you give it back to us, everything, all the red comments have now been changed to green, incorporated. And then once we're all done and we close everything out, it's changed to gray. Okay, and so I'll go ahead and show you a couple examples further on here what happens, okay? So actually, I'll come back to that in a second here. Let's go to this. And so what happens, what happens in the back check room is once you have these filters or these colors set, you can come and you can filter this markup list down here like kind of like an Excel spreadsheet, okay? And so what happens is I want to filter this down and I want to see just my comments that I made originally. I can come down and select my name. It changes, now it just shows my stuff down here in the markup list and my stuff on the drawings, okay? Everything else has been grayed out. And then if I just want to see the stuff that is green or red, I can click on the color, and now it just shows me the red stuff. And this will show me the stuff. So now I can bounce around and go through here, and I can see the stuff that's outstanding, okay, based on the coloring scheme, okay? So that's the power of this, using the status menu and changing and using the filtering functions to be able to kind of figure out where we're at. And also for you guys, you can use it to figure out what you've incorporated, what you haven't incorporated by filtering the markups list down here, okay? Okay. So, and so what the most successful back checks that I've dealt with, including the one that I worked with Gina, was the one where the design professional actually brought in a laptop. And so with sessions, you can have up to 500 people working on the same session at the same time. And so what works best is when we're meeting with you, we're going through it, and we're making comments on the version 2, so you didn't quite address this, you got to pick this up. And over here, you got Gina working away, and she's actually correcting the documents as we go. And by the time we step away, she's actually made the corrections. And so that type of environment and setup works well, but that's not a requirement. What can happen is as soon as DSA is done with their review, you can you switch the Bluebeam Studio user. So that's done by, there's an account you set up as a user. So for example, each one of these people that got into the session, they basically have a Bluebeam Studio account that's been set up with their name and the password, so that allows them to log in to this by switching users and access the session. And so when they make the comment or corrections, the mark they make will tag to their name, okay? Here. Okay, so updating documents in session. So you can make, so let's look at an example here. So this is an example of a version 2 where I've gone through and I've made my, I've cleared everything out on my version 1 except for a couple outstanding items on version 2. So these are new comments that, that weren't picked up appropriately or what have you. Okay, so this is and so the version 2 markup list, I can kind of see what's going on down here, and once I click on it, it'll bounce to it, even if they're on different sheets. You click on it, it'll bring you directly to the spot on the drawings. Okay, so now if I look at version 3, this is a way that it was solved. It can be solved by a design professional, okay, by you guys, okay. So you can come in and you can put in a new image. Like you can have somebody, redrafting the detail back in the office, or you have AutoCAD on your laptop, whatever it is. They come in here and they make the corrections. And I'll go ahead and do a split screen here so you can see the original markups on the version 2. So you can see, okay, so this was my markups, okay. They came in, they clarified the spacing here, they clarified the weld size here, they came over here, and so that's pasting a new little image on it. Here's another way to correct it within the sessions, is you can put the comment here, size does not match, plans, coordinate, so 2x6, so they basically come in here and change it to 2x8, put a text box over the top of it. So one of the things that you as a design firm, I think you guys should do is to create a tool chest or a profile that allows you to have your typical, the typical black marks with your font style and what have you, in case you have to come in and, we will have it in the back check room. I'll show it to you. I'll show you what it looks like. We have a profile. I'm going to switch to back check profile. We have a profile in the back check room that has some typical, so this is an example of a text box like that you can go and you can paste on top of something or whatever it may be. So, but you guys, as a design firm, you guys may want to develop standards that you have that you can use, and you can just load the profile onto our back check room or onto your laptop computer, right? Back check room computer or your own device that you come with. So anyways, okay, so that's kind of what it looks like. And so as soon as when I come to here to the version 3, you can see that, so now this is an approvable set. They could actually could have made the corrections directly on version 2, and then I would have just deleted my comments, and that could have been the as corrected approved set eventually, okay? Let's go. So specs are very similar as far as how they should be bookmarked. So we want the specs to be bookmarked to the section level, or at least to be collapsible, expandable to the section level. So you could have divisions also listed in here, as long as we can collapse it or expand it by clicking on one of these and it gets it to the section level. That's what we need to do to get around it, navigate the specs efficiently, okay? I'll go back to the presentation, okay. And so then the other option is if you have a lot of comments and things aren't quite ready and things are still outstanding, the other option is to, instead of correcting it within the session, is to actually correct it within the, create a new version set instead of a correcting session. So in this case, a version 3. We actually made the corrections and then put it in Bluebeam projects, and we added to sessions again, okay? In some cases, if you're prepared, you can, the back check's going smoothly, then you probably can handle this stuff within the sessions. Otherwise, you may want to expand it to make it corrected, make a new version 3. Okay, let's go on to the next slide, because now we're at stamp out here. So we will actually take the document out of sessions, our EPR admin will, and they will place the stamp, flatten it. Our stamp will have a little different look now. Won't have the signatures, everybody. It'll have this will be the new look of it. We will, once we approve it, we will place a copy in the approval folder, which is a read-only folder for everybody. We also put a copy in the Blue DSA box, your project folder, and you'll get notified once this gets uploaded to the DSA box by the automatic box notification. I think that covers it. Yeah, any questions?
Yes.
Okay, Paul, we have a few questions here for you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. You did mention that DSA will be setting up the Bluebeam Studio sessions. Will they also be setting up the project, or will the architect have to create that?
No, we'll be setting up the projects too.
Okay. You also mentioned, and I kind of heard through the grapevine here that you are locating the stamp on the drawings. Is there a specific place that you're going to be locating that stamp?
Yes, I talked to Gina about this, and we are going to be updating the procedures in the next couple weeks, and we are going to be putting the stamp up in the top right-hand corner.
Okay, so we're going to have to modify our tile blocks to incorporate that. Do you have sizes already decided?
I think I gave all the information to Gina already,
Okay.
and she's the only one that has it so far, so
Right.
she's ahead of it.
I know. Another question here is, what is the earliest we can submit a DSA plan review check? When checks are submitted, are we required to submit all or any of the submittal forms?
When the check is submitted, so we're in we have I think it's a procedure 1702 or 1703, our registration admin procedure that hasn't been released yet, but that'll provide more information about the check and the what you provide. But what we're asking for is that you provide us with the DSA 1 completed with the check, and it should be on the day of the intended registration submittal date.
Okay. This is a question regarding incomplete projects. What constitutes an incomplete project? We understand projects will be issued an incomplete notice after the 24-hour grace period due to improper formatting. Can a notice be issued during a plan review phase? In other words, is there a second chance for an incomplete notice?
So we're tweaking the procedures a little bit here. So we're going to make it so that so it's incomplete, just like what we did with the paper process. It reaches intake. Intake looks at it and says, "Oh, it's not quite there. You didn't do X, Y, and Z." I'm sure you guys have experienced that in some of your projects, and then they send an incomplete notice, right? So that still remains in place, right? Okay. So what we're doing now with the prepping part is I said we're going to send that email out after we verify what you prepped or haven't prepped. I can go ahead and bounce to that email. I'm going to send this email out, and we're going to send this email out that tells you what hasn't been done, right? Or what you missed in your prepping part. So, and the reality is, if you are alive on the other end and you are actively trying to solve these issues, we're going to wait to make it happen. If you just ignore us, then we're going to basically send it directly to intake, and it will be returned. And they will do their intake review with the projects or the documents that were submitted in the box that were not properly prepped, and then we will issue an incomplete notice, and it'll be, one of the comments will be incomplete because of, and it could be the only incomplete reason for incomplete is because it was not properly prepped and nobody responded on the design professionals team. So my expectations is that I believe that HMC will be making an effort to respond to this email and correct things.
Absolutely.
And my guess is after this little meeting here, you're going to have it all done right the very first time. You'll never receive this email. Right?
Always.
That's the goal. That's why I'm talking to you now.
We have another question typed in. How does the architect firm get the final DSA approved stamped PDFs for bidding?
How does the architect get the?
Yeah. How will we get the final DSA approved PDFs?
It'll be in the box.
Okay.
So it'll be in the box. It'll be or in Bluebeam projects. I think that was right here. That last slide I talked about. It's going in the box and in Bluebeam projects.
Does anybody have any questions here in Ontario?
I have a quick question. So in between the submittal and DSA's review, we'll do a QA on the drawings, and some either new sheets or new details or new information will be on the drawings. How does that get reviewed during back check? Because it may not, address one of your comments, it'll be something that's maybe not related to your comments.
So it's just so let me if I understand this right. So you basically made a change to the document that is not as a result of a plan review comment. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So it's just the same as paper. If you did this in paper, you would just let us know. I changed this. Can you let us know? Let me take a look at this or whatever. And obviously, if it's a significant change where you're revising scope or whatever, you're gonna just as the paper world, you're gonna contact PSA supervisors or whatever, and you're gonna say, okay, we have this change. What do we need to do? So it's the same as paper. Nothing's changed.
So are we going to be required to bubble it then, Paul?
No.
Okay.
Just like you did with you weren't required to bubble it when we did it with paper. We're not going to require it now. Try to keep it the same as possible. Just a different platform to look at things.
There are other questions that are being typed in. There was some talk that DSA creates different versions of sessions. I did not understand when or why that happens.
Different versions of sessions. So I think if I understand this right, so we create a session for plan review, okay? And then we're also going to create, for each type of post-approval document, deferred submittals, revisions, addendums, CCDs, we'll create a separate session for each type of post-approval document. Does that answer the question?
Oh, yes. There's another question typed in. Do hyperlinks need to be detail specific or sheet only?
No, sheet only.
Okay.
The detail specific would be very painful to do. So the built-in tools with Extreme allow you to run the steps for linking, and it doesn't take long at all. And so one of the tricks to that is to make sure that that you are using so what it does is that you're using a true type font, because if you're not using true type font, it's kind of all bumpy and doesn't quite read it, or there are broken lines or whatever. So if it's a true type font, it will, and I went through this with Gina, so it will actually pick up on and automatically link. It'll look for anything in the Bluebeam bookmarking label, like this T1.-1.1 up in the label here, and it'll look for it on the sheet. And then it'll basically, anywhere it finds this on the sheet, it will basically link it to that page. And so it's important to make sure the fonts are there, make sure the true type font's being used, and that you're using the exact same format. You can't say T1.1.1 and then call it on the detail, or actually call it T-1.1, but on the detail, call it T1.1. Get rid of the dash. It needs to exactly match.
And are we talking about just detail callouts?
So when you run the hyperlink, it'll
keynotes even also.
Yeah, keynotes. Whenever you run the hyperlinking tool, it's going to look for anywhere in the document. It doesn't know if it's a detail or if it's a keynote, whatever it is, it's going to find it. So as long as you match it, the nomenclature to match the sheet number which you typically would and should.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Any other questions here in Ontario?
Would that be for schedules too, like door schedules, window schedules for details?
Did you hear that, Paul? What about detail callouts within the door schedule and window schedules? Will they have to be hyperlinked as well?
Well, it's going to automatically be hyperlinked. If it is labeled properly, it's going to find that text in there and label it. It's not like you just run it, and as long as you have that in there, it's going to search and find it, and it's going to, it'll make it hyperlinked, so that you basically have this. Have it on here. Show the link, so that when you click on this little icon or this little tab here for links, it's going to, you may have some links that are already built in from your Revit or your AutoCAD or whatever, but once you run this hyperlinking through Bluebeam Extreme, it's going to populate everything else. It's going to search the entire document for all that text. It won't work for scanned documents. So if you have a PC that you're using that's scanned, if you're having an existing, relocatable building that's scanned, it's not going to find it, and we're not going to require that you hyperlink those just because that would be a painful manual process. We want you to spend the minute to run the batch link to hyperlink it. Besides that, there's nothing else you need to do.
Okay. Any other questions in the other offices? Thank you very much, Paul. That was very helpful.
Okay. Good luck.
All right.
Okay. Thank you all.
Last call, by the way.
And I got that one last message. So I think one thing we all have to do is, and I'm sure I've gave the same spiel to Gina, is I think we all need to be patient on both your end and our end. Okay, sometimes you're going to be dealing with a plan reviewer that's really experienced and really computer savvy and can book around this thing really quickly. Other times you're going to be dealing with somebody that's not quite there. But it's also going to be reversed on the other way too, where sometimes I'm going to be dealing with you and you're not going to be very savvy, and I'm going to be super savvy, and so I'm going to be teaching you to do the stuff, and we would expect the vice versa. The reality is all of us together are going to have to work this through and be patient, and I think in the long run, I think we end up having a product that is a process that you all want to use and we'll be happy with, because the reality is, for you to be able to, track everybody's comments, as they're going along is, I think, very powerful. And for you to be able to invite everybody by, a single email and then see what they're getting into and if they're looking at it, and to see if they've incorporated stuff and not incorporated. I think we're going to end up with a system that it's going to make the process, make us all, more successful in the end and getting through these plan reviews more efficiently and quicker. And so it's just a little bit of patience on everybody's end to, help move this thing along. That's the only message I have to leave you with. Is that okay? Okay. I'm out. See you later.